Welcome back. Now, Priscilla Benjamin Olaoye is here with me for a discussion regarding our mental well-being. Now, this morning, we're focusing on major factors that lead to mental breakdown. That is, identifying them and quickly moving to rectify the situation. Thank you so much for joining us this morning again.
Thank you very much for having
Priscilla.
me.
Now, mental breakdown,
Right.
nervous breakdown. Is there a
Right.
difference?
Okay, it's actually just semantics.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing. So we say that when someone has a nervous breakdown, it's just a way of saying that, oh, that person probably has had some issues in relation with their mental health. And, so it's the same thing, basically. But the only difference, the way it's been changed is because of the causes, which we're supposed to talk about today. When we say that, I remember saying last week that in practice we usually would use the biopsychosocial model, meaning that we want to look at our biology, we want to look at our psychology, and we want to look at the social aspects of our lives and how those contribute to a mental breakdown.
No, but one of the things that I've heard, because I was, when I heard about this topic yesterday, I started reading up about it. And one of the biggest issues that kept recurring in many of the websites I went to was high stress situations over a long period of time.
Right.
That usually this is one of the big areas that people have to focus on.
Okay, so now that's the social. Do you understand? So that's why we usually would look at, a lot of times we think, okay, because this happened, then it's linear. Because this happened, then this person broke down.
Right.
Usually it's not like that.
So
it's
it would
not
be a
a
combination
linear
of factors,
cause. It's
right.
usually, a lot of times it's multifactorial. So we want to look at the wholesome person. So let's look at the social factors that you have raised now. We say, for example, that someone is in very stressful relationships, or the person is having high level of stress when it comes to work, or high level of stress when it comes to relationship, or high level of stress when it comes to coping with daily activities. Now, those are social factors. So we say that the environment is hostile, to the person. So when I talk about a model, just think of three circles: the biology, the social, and the psychology. So when we say the biology, for example, we're talking hereditary factors. Is it something that there are certain genetic mutations that we say that can be passed on from generation to generation? So it could be a fourth generation, it could be a third generation, but those genes are just passed across. And then when people talk about, we're talking, for example, depression, for example, which is very common, but it's just it's one type of mental illness, but it's not the only kind of mental illness.
Right.
But that's the one people talk about.
Okay,
the
so
most.
let's talk about the symptoms and some of the things that people would begin to feel if mental breakdown is coming on. So if maybe I'm trying to prevent it, or if I feel like I can identify some symptoms of mental breakdown at some point in my life, or whatever it is.
Okay, so it's the same model that you get to know. So it's, for example, I was talking about the biology, right? We have brain chemicals, right, that helps with our communication, with our everyday life and all of that. The moment we begin to find a reduced level, for depression, for example, we talk of the serotonin or the dopamine, which everybody talks about. So, for example, when these neurotransmitters are going really low, because neurotransmitters are responsible for your mood, so you begin to notice mood changes. You begin to notice that your level of excitement, because these chemicals are responsible for your level of excitement, it helps to regulate aggression and how you're able to control your level of irritation and all of that. So you begin to see changes in that. You see that you're more irritable. You see that it also regulates sleep. You see that your sleep. So there are three areas. It's either you're unable to sleep quite early, then it sometimes is midnight insomnia, where you're unable to sleep at night. You sleep early, but you wake up in the middle of the night. Or it could be early morning insomnia, where the person sleeps early, does not have issues in the midnight, but the person will wake up pretty early than usual, say about 3:30, 4 a.m., and the person is unable to go to sleep. So those are changes. Then you also see psychological changes. You're unable, okay, to handle stresses, you know, like you usually will handle it. Your level of resilience. So when there is a bad news, for example, it really does weigh you down. So you see that the person begins to have prolonged level of strong emotions that is just unusually prolonged.
Right.
Level of excitability is really low. The person, so other times we feel that the person should probably be sad and cry all the time, which we see all that. The person has weepy spells. But you see, it's not all of the time that it shows up like that. So, there's also high functioning depression where the person goes to work, the person is doing everything he's supposed to do.
But he's actually depressed.
He's actually depressed. So high functioning depression. And because there are different types as well. For some, it's postpartum. The fact that they just had a baby and they're unable to nurse their baby. They're not emotionally attached to the baby. They don't want to touch the baby. They don't want to, sometimes because they're not ready for it. Sometimes because, I mean, it's multifactorial.
Yeah. So let's talk about getting ahead of these situations.
Right.
Because sometimes, I like that you've broken it down into three major things. There's the social, there's the biological, and what's the
there's
third
the
thing?
psychological.
And there's the psychological. So how do I get ahead of all these issues and make sure that, okay, my biology is right, my psychology is right, and of course it's not just, you know, knowing it mentally, but also being able to practice the right kind of lifestyle.
I would love to answer your question straight away, but I want to prevent a situation of self-diagnosis. You cannot diagnose yourself of being depressed. If you feel that you have low moods and all of that, it might just be sadness, but then you would need a professional to also, because we cannot take one symptom. One symptom does not form a diagnosis.
I'm not even talking about diagnosing yourself. I'm just saying.
But I just needed to quickly put that balance. But in answering your question, so for biologically, we say that there are diets that are very rich in serotonin. Okay, there are diets for example, we have the watermelon, we have the turkey. We believe that turkey is very rich in serotonin. And there are certain nuts that are also rich in serotonin. People can check that out online. So you can increase your serotonin levels with your diet. Secondly, you can increase your serotonin levels with your activities. So when you get engaged in workouts, you do activities, outdoor activities, they boost.
So exercise is good, obviously.
Oh yes, it does boost. So diets, exercise, lifestyle basically, and also we encourage that you notice, you know, you become mindful, you live mindfully. You begin to notice certain situations or certain things that brings you down, and you want to try and avoid that and redefine the kind of relations that you have around you. Find those things that excite you. If you can't find help, let someone help you find. But basically, a change in lifestyle would definitely boost, you know, all of this. So that's biology. Psychological, you know, I've mentioned some of the things.
Yeah, you have.
You know, in residence. Socially, you want to manipulate your physical environment. You know, certain colors, if you notice, would make you feel better. If you wear certain colors, you will see that you feel down. So it's just manipulating your physical environment, your social environment, your psychological environment, and then you engage in a lifestyle that will boost your serotonin level.
Wow, thank you so much, Priscilla, for joining us once again this morning and talking about mental health and just ensuring that, you know, you're ahead of the game and, you know, get the best out of yourself every single time.